I think outer space represents a place which doesn't have the constrictions of the society of the day. There's a sense of a utopian freedom, and you can see this in the paintings. It's where the bodies are free to intermingle. She writes how she fantasizes about having a party in a club on the moon, and all her friends would be there, and every seventh song would be Fly Me to the Moon. Kiki Kogelnik was born in 1935 in Graz in Austria. She relocated to New York in 1962. She found acrylic paint at this stage, which isn't even called acrylic at that stage. It's a new medium, and she describes it as plastic paint. She says, all my colours are plastic now. Coincidentally with her move to America is the shift from abstraction to figuration. She doesn't make figuration in a kind of straightforward way. Her question is, how do I draw a hand? And what she actually does is she just draws around the hand on the canvas and then paints it in flat colour. So it's a kind of representation of that hand or that body. And soon she's actually drawing around her own body and the bodies of other people onto brown paper, which she calls taking, which is a lovely phrase full of other connotations. And she uses these stencils to then compose her paintings and therefore transfers these bodies onto the works. She's also informed by the death of Marilyn Monroe in 1962. And she writes to her mother, poor Marilyn, I can't believe what they have done to her. They have cut her open and then put her in a fridge. It's the first time that Kogelnik starts thinking about the interior of the body. In the mid-60s, Kogelnik is thinking very much about the augmented human, how the body needs to be altered, how things may have to be replaced. And so ideas of the cyborg, the robot, all come into play. And she's actually starting to use real objects on the surface. So artificial man and artificial woman have kind of clearly found objects. There's kind of the hose that you'll find in a vacuum cleaner. Out of the end of the tube is a plastic heart hanging. So there's the idea that the heart can be separated or can exist apart from the body. The figures in the 70s are ones taken from magazines and advertising. So there's almost a critique of these exaggerated poses that women are forced to adopt. You have women performing a role. And I can't help thinking of Irving Levin's book, published in 1973, The Stepford Wives. These amazing women are resented by their husbands, and slowly, one by one, they are replaced by robots, which is why Kogelnik paints these kind of soulless, robotic faces on them. The scissors are a very important tool for Kogelnik. By 1968, she's faced with the reality of being a doctor's wife and a mother. Without a studio, she starts thinking about what else can I make? And so she starts using the templates which she made the paintings with and cutting these bodies out of vinyl. And she then drapes these figures over hangers and using clothing racks makes kind of sculptures out of them. It's very interesting to go back to think about the term she uses, which is taking, in terms of taking the drawing of someone. You're capturing them as well. Hung like this, they perhaps look like trophies, whether of a memory, a relationship, or just something which has been caught. While she is in London, she creates this amazing series of drawings called robots, and these are all made with the rubber stamps that doctors used to use in their notes to record their diagnosis. They are to do with the idea of the robot, which is an augmented, changed human, which is being assembled in one group of works, which is then being sent into outer space where it kind of reaches a celestial nirvana state. They then sort of mutate and change, even in a state of ecstasy still, until a very violent end. In 1984, she creates her own ceramic studio in New York. She's using the slab method, which involves rolling something out and then cutting it out using a stencil. There are 3 works which all share the title Clone. In a way, this is an extension of the robots and the cyborgs. This is still part of that same language of the artificial.